Is this the ultimate patch? Hello and welcome to Splat Talk. Last year, the developers have announced two patches to come this year. Version 5.1.0, which came in January, and version 5.2.0, which is scheduled for April 22nd, 2020. Or it could be the 20th, I don't know. Google Translate makes it confusing. Today the patch notes dropped and here's what to expect. For the GAL52, they are making it easier to paint on our feet. The spread of the splat roller flicks has been widened a little. The Flingsa roller's vertical flick time is decreased by 2 frames. For the Hissen, which stands for tri-slosher, the interval for continuous sloshing has been decreased by 2 frames, which makes it a little faster to shake. I suppose that reducing left and right shake while shooting on the ground by 6% means that the general RNG of the heavy splatling might have decreased by 6% on the ground, which is nice. The paint droplets of the Supura maneuver, that's the splat dualies for you, has been made slightly larger, which makes these dualies slightly better at painting. The ink consumption of the Kelvin 525, which are the Gluga dualies, has been decreased by 7%, which is also nice, but not what I'm looking for regarding this weapon. Squeaklin means squeafer, and for these weapons, the time from releasing the charge hold has been reduced by 1 frame. Same thing for Splat Charger and Eliter 4K, but it's 2 frames. Somehow, from what I understand for the scoped variants, it seems that the paint width of the fully charged shots has been reduced a little, but not for the unscoped variants. That being said, the paint width without a full charge is the same as before for all of them. Kugel Shriver. Behind this devious name, we can find the ballpoint splatling. And for this one, the shot speed of long range mode has been shortened by 4%, and the range has been shortened as well. As for the short range mode, the run speed while charging and shooting has been reduced by 10%. This one's gonna hurt for the tent umbrellas, as they increased the respawning time of the umbrella part for a whopping 40 frames. Yes, longer umbrella respawning time. To top it all off, they increased the ink consumption by 10%. That's all for the main weapons so far. The only sub-weapon that has been affected is the Toxic Mist, and now it seems like it will do some effect on the enemy baller, but which one? We'll see. As for the specials, the baller's explosion activation time upon pressing ZDAR, or wherever you mapped that button, you know, the Switch's new firmware allows that, has been increased by 16 frames. Now it takes a little longer to explode the baller. For the lightweight weapons with baller, the acceleration power on the ground has been increased so that you can move around more quickly with baller. The weapons that are affected are Aerospray RG, Luna Blaster, Inkrush Nouveau, and Undercover Sorella Brella. However, for the heavyweight weapons, or weapon, yeah, there's only one heavyweight baller weapon, and it's Custom Explosion. The maximum speed has been decreased by 14%. For the bubble blower, the duration time of the bubbles themselves has been increased by 2 seconds, while the size of the first and second bubbles has been decreased. First bubble is the smallest, then the second bubble is slightly larger, and at last the third bubble has the same size as before. As such, the painting and damage radius of the first and second bubbles will also be affected. And at last, for the special charges, NZAP 83 and Custom Range Blaster go from 180 to 170, L3 Nozzle Nose goes from 210 to 220, Volley Squeezer goes from 180 to 190, and the Inkbrush Nouveau goes from 160 to 180. The first thing that I noticed is that since the NZAP 83 special charge requirement has been decreased, for reminder, this weapon comes equipped with Sprinkler and Inkstorm, I can see a slight increase in the use of this weapon among the support players, since we might spam Inkstorm a little more given that we use the Sprinkler a little more often to cover the map and get special faster. And despite all the nerfs applied to Tent Umbrella, it still seems like a strong weapon, and I hope to see a more moderate use of the Brella Shield release from these players. It also means they'll have to be more careful about the ink management. It seems like the nerfs are also gonna give the ballpoint a bad time, to the point where I fear that their range might be downgraded from Hydra's range to Heavy's range, and that's huge if that's the case. But the Heavy Splatling users can rejoice with this RNG reduction. Also nerfs galore again for baller, although among these we have a small buff for the listed lightweight weapons with baller that are gonna benefit from this tiny buff. Maybe except Inkbrush Nouveau because of the new special requirement. I just hope In fact, the only thing I wished for the Gluga Duelist is that they increase the damage output so that I don't rely on the use of main power-up to make it a decent weapon to use from the get-go. I mean, in consumption decrease sure is nice, but 35 of base damage for this weapon is not okay, and we can't always rely on the dodge roll shots increased damage either. And at last, I just wish that the better fit painting will give the Gal 52s an easier time, because these are clearly not the best weapons when it comes to paint, especially with their RNG and fire rate that do not really match together. For now, that's it for my thoughts on these patch notes. It seems that there's a bunch of stuff coming for the support and the backliners, and nothing really for the slayers. Maybe nothing really huge, but we'll see. If you have any thoughts on these notes, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell for notification, follow me on Twitter for more updates, follow me on Twitch where I stream on Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday at 8 PM Central European Summer Time. That's 2 PM Eastern Time and 11 AM Pacific Time for the American folks out there. Thank you for watching, this was Stardust Sonic and I shall see you next time. Bye!